who heads the water department. Yes. Why not give that latitude and space to the cabinet secretaries to launch these projects, which were started by the government, and now we have got ministries heading such kind of initiatives. Let me just get your word, Mheshimiwa Justina. I think it's indicative that politics is very fun, but when it comes to getting the job done, it's very boring. Because I'm seeing the president. What do you mean? The president, in his element, he's a politician. That we know. But as a leader, it's like he's getting so bored staying in one place. He just wants to keep on traveling, and that is why we are saying that if the government is saying there is no money, that you have to tighten our belt, but the government is living large. The trips, they're extravagant, they are costly to the taxpayers. So how I wish that you would even give the CSS the latitude to do the job. It even goes to show maybe sometimes the president might be seen like he's a one-man show, because he's complaining that his CSS are not working, but he's also there in their face, not even giving them the space to do things. So probably even the CSS are worried. So I think the president should not focus on setting the agenda, the delivery, and the guidance, but being on the ground all the time. It's showing that he's not moved away from campaigns and politics. We look forward to a day we'll miss the president on TV. They used to miss Kibaki, and then when we see him, we are excited. We are like, hey, the guy is back. But now every time he's just on our faces, we are wondering, is it campaign time or delivery? So it goes to say that campaign times are very fun, but delivery is very boring in this country. Ruku, you want to respond to that?
Yes, it's not correct. That allegation is not true, because on 15th of July, I hosted CS Wamae to launch a water project in my constituency, in Mbeere North. To launch Ena's Chicago water project, which is financed by the government of Kenya. It's not William Ruto who came, it's not the deputy president who came, it is a minister of water on 15th of July. On last week, I was with the Minister of East Africa Cooperation and Arid and Semi-Arid, Madam Rebecca Meano, in my constituency again, to launch a hard dam, which is also financed by NDMA, National Drought Management Authority, which is a parastatal and a ministry, and we were there a whole day. So ministers are busy going around the Republic of Kenya, talking to the Kenyans, listening to the Kenyans, getting the needs of the people, and so that they can be aligned with their day-to-day activities. So it is not true that the ministers are not moving around the country and launching different projects. Already, I have hosted 2 ministers. But we all agree that there's a very thin line between launching projects and development or tour and politics. Remember, all those who are in power, President William Ruto is a politician. He campaigns to be in that position. And therefore, he has to go reminding Kenyans that, yes, you gave me this position. This is what I have done so far. And I'm planning to do more. I'm planning to do 1, 2, 3. Okay. So you cannot just sit in the office. Remember, yes, Kibaki was a gentle politician. He stayed in State House. He worked very hard for this nation, and he did a good job. But remember what happened in 2015 during the referendum of banana and oranges? He sacked the entire of his government because he thought the CSAs and the PSAs and all these members of government were busy supporting the government programs on the grassroots. But when Kibaki was busy working in State House, also other politicians, they decided also to stay indoors. And it was disaster. When he tried to go out there and say the referendum is good, whatever the proposed draft constitution is good, Kenyans told him no. So he ended up sacking all. That was a historical moment. All the government, the PSs, assistant ministers, and ministers. And we stayed without ministers and assistant ministers and permanent secretary for more than a week. And that is why we ended up having a very contested and a very violent general election of 2007-2008. So it is extremely important to go out there and talk to the people and unite Kenyans. Unite Kenyans by talking to them, by explaining to them what the government is doing. And the end of the government and end of state we have is one, William Samoei Ruto. So we expect him not only to be in State House making this plan, but also to have developmental tours where he's going to explain to the people in a very candid way on what his government is doing.
What do you make of that, Justina?
I think it goes back to what I said. Politics is very fun, but delivery is very boring.
It's very boring.
That is what it's showing us with all the explanation. Because even the Kenyan of today, actually this is the conversation Kenyans are realizing. The economy is dependent on the people who are elected. They are the ones who influence policy. So even if he goes on the ground to hear what Kenyans are saying, you have never put Biblia chini because unga is still more than 100 shillings. So let him first concentrate on giving us the delivery. Let us feel that something has changed in this country without necessarily seeing him all the time. Development is not about seeing you. It's about feeling that right now the government is not borrowing from domestically, so the banks are now hawking their products. You know, that is what we feel for private sector, that you can even access funding or loans quickly because there's no competition between you in private sector and the government. So we want to feel first the difference, not really seeing him, because we saw too much of him in the campaigns. So it's time for delivery. However boring it is, he has no choice, but he asked for the job. We just want to feel that this change.
Yeah, we all know the president is a go-getter. He's hands-on. So you probably correct, because he has to get out there and see work done. The question is...
But you know, there's something we're talking about...
As to respond to that, does it mean that he also wanted to quell the tension in the mountain because of the Finance Act? The heat, you know, some slow simmering tension in the mountain?
There is no tension in the mountain whatsoever. The people of mountain are very hardworking people. They wake up very early in the morning to do their issue of business. The only thing they need from government is assurance that they are going to, government is going to protect their property. Government is going to give them conducive environment. You know, Martha Karua and Kioni, they are senior members of Azimio and who come from the mountain. The reasons why they are not considered in some of these talks is because there was not even a single tire which was burnt in the entire mountain. Not even a single tire which was burnt. Because the people of mountain are busy and they are in total support of the programs which the government is putting in place. And by the way, of course, we have started seeing the prices of quite a number of commodities coming down. And one of the things which we are going to experience in a couple of months from now, or 1 month from now, is a bumper harvest because of the plan which the government put in place. So we expect the prices of many commodities to come down, including unga. We have seen the prices of cooking oil coming down. We have seen the prices of onion, the prices of cabbages and all these vegetables coming down. And it is through a deliberate plan by the end of state that we have to do work. We cannot cut, you know, the cost. We cannot bring the cost of living down by just talking about it. It's by people working. If you fly today from, I don't know, from Meru all the way to Busia, you'll be able to see how we have green farms. That has been achieved by first registering farmers. This government registered 5 million farmers within a month, a program which the previous government was unable to achieve. Number two, ensuring that fertilizer is available and is distributed across the nation. Different types of fertilizer for coffee, for tea, for maize, for beans, for whatever you are farming. That has been done. And now, already the program of further supplying fertilizer to farmers through subsidized program from 3,500 now to 2,500. And the president is willing even to bring it down. Maybe we are going to see even going to 2,000 Kenyan shilling. So that the production can be increased. That's the only way. We don't have any other magic. We will not put sufriyas on our ends and then we get maize.
Ruku, is the price of unga just normal word price of unga, or unga is just a general term used cost of living? Because unga is our staple food, fine. So the price of unga will come to 90. Let me just say, the price of sugar will still remain at 450. They're not related.
The price of sugar is a big issue, which also this government is.
But you all agree that it has to be cost of living in totality.
Yes. I agree. Whether it's sugar, whether it's maize, whether it's wheat, the bottom line is we have to get right on the production of sugarcane, production of wheat, production of maize.
I'll get into that discussion when we talk about the hits and misses of the Kenya Kwanza administration, almost 1 year on, and that's going to. Justina, probably, had you been in government, what would you have done differently? As assume Kenyans elected you, and now you are the deputy president. Now, the hits and misses, what would you have taken home? Okay, so let me ask you this question: at the end of the day, somebody is saying that the president is taking a lot of time in the mountain, 5 days. He goes somewhere once, then back to State House, but he's taking 5 days in the mountain. Why?
Probably there is fear that the mountain has shifted with the Finance Bill and the Finance Act. The conversation that was there on public participation.
Yes.
Many people from the mountain was not happy. Even we saw Wamae saying that.
Ruku says that there's nothing like that.
There is. That's the reality on the ground, and it's the faster they understand that, the better. Wamae was saying that Kenyans are saying we do not want houses to sleep in. We want industries to work in. That was even Wamae herself tried to say that the mountain is not happy. So I think the president is trying to bring back the mountain and trying to show them that this is the agenda. However, the president also and the people of the mountain have to accept one thing. During campaigns, they benefited largely from harambes. They benefited largely from being given handouts in the campaigns. Now, whatever is biting them, do you sasa? Because what they ate during campaigns, there's something called return on investment.
Yes.
So I'm feeling like they're being hypocritical to complain, but they knew that when this money was coming, even for the harambes, it had come from somewhere, maybe campaign financials. Now the people want the return on investment. So I think that anything this government maybe can make us feel that that cost of living has been brought down. We also need to move away from rain-fed agriculture. Right now, we are seeing that the other farms that are drying up, people had planted, fertilizers was given out, but the rains have gone. Then when the rain have gone again, what are we doing? In Laikipia, plants are drying up. So maybe we would see they'd complete a very large dam. And then Alice Wamae is complaining that her budget was taken away for the dams. So we are wondering, are you just going to give us fertilizer? Remember, they were given in 12 priority counties. What about a small-scale farmer like myself? I've never seen an NCPB in Roy. Where am I going to pick the fertilizer from? So there is so much that goes into agriculture that is an input far beyond the fertilizer.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's shift gears.
Can I respond briefly?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
We Kenyans are funny. We really thrive on rumors. Like now, what my colleague here she's talking about is pure rumors, and it's not right just to talk about rumors without checking the facts. Already, Alice Wamae, the Minister of Water, has strict instructions from the President to ensure over 4,000 dams, mini dams we have in the Republic of Kenya are desilted before the next rains, which may start sometimes early October or mid-October, because there is weather forecast that we are going to experience El Nino in the coming season. If it's about the budget being cut to do the dams and implement water projects, then President will not be giving such kind of instruction to ensure all the dams, mini dams we have in the Republic of Kenya are desilted, so that we can improve on water harvesting. One thing which this country has failed in the previous administration is water harvesting. We have huge rains, then immediately after that we start complaining on lack of water when we had very huge rainfall, but our technologies, our effort in terms of water harvesting are always not as par.
Yes.
Now the President is insisting the Minister of Water must ensure in the coming days water harvesting is going to be.
She's
here.
Yes.
She's just peddling rumors. Number two, we are the politicians. We are always with the people. Yesterday and the previous day, And even today, by the way, by 10 a.m., I will be in the constituency.
Okay.
The thing is, there is no discontent in the mountain.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break. The director said that we need to take a quick break. But before then, Justina, I'm just quite interested in asking, at the end of the day, what if we don't have enough rain to sustain us, to have the bumper harvest? We have not harvested the water that the government is talking about. We don't have dams. So what else? We'll still go and come back to the same cycle of high cost of living, there's no unga and all that. Some type of creativity. I mean, the question I would want to ask you, ungefanyaje differently if you're the government today?
After the break or now?
You can comment on that as we go to the break.
What would have done differently? Remember, industrial hemp grows, it doesn't need so much water to grow. Number two, it is versatile, it is short cycle, that we could even produce food from it,
yes,
sugar beets from it, so that we would have been different. Number two, maybe if in the line of Kibaki, we remember Kibaki because of Thika Road, we remember Uhuru because of the expressway, we would have focused on a large dam, a mega dam, something like what we have in Egypt or Israel, and we'd even partner with them to come and show us how we're going to harvest our water. Yes, and the technology is in place. So that would have been the most different, so that at least Kenyans, when they're saying that sugarcane sugar is expensive, then you have an option of hemp sugar, which is cheaper, it is short cycle, it grows in 4 months. Sugarcane grows in 1 year. So I need to see creativity from this government. And also to tell the government that there is a petition I took to the National Assembly for decriminalization of industrial hemp, or katani in Kiswahili. The president is actually the best person to implement this, because that is his educational background, botany and all that. So we want to see a difference in approach, because remember, even climate change is affecting this country. Fertilizers are also not good at this point. Remember the greenhouse gases. Fertilizer is being told that it's bringing more in terms of greenhouse gas, and you are affecting the ozone layer. So we need to even move away from the fertilizers and come up with climate resilient crops that do not need fertilizer.
Okay.
Yes. Let's
take a break. But before then, how about I take you on the front page, as I promised, of international papers. Here on the front page of the BBC. It's a story that has been ongoing for quite some time. So this is it. Niger coup, junta shuts airspace citing military intervention threat. The issue of Niger there, the coup in the West African country. Niger coup leaders have closed the country's airspace until further notice, citing the threat of military intervention from their neighbors. Now, there is a flight tracking website that is Flightradar24, which is showing that there are currently no aircraft in Niger's skies. The West African group of countries, that is ECOWAS, had earlier warned it could use force if President Mohamed Bazoum was not reinstated by 2300 GMT on Sunday. So that is what's happening in the West African countries. So the military took over. The takeover has been internationally condemned, including by former colonial power France and the rest of the European Union, as well as the United Nations and the United States. That is happening in Niger. You have it there. Very quickly, and finally on France 24, again, still on the same thing. Niger coup leaders rally supporters as ECOWAS deadline passes. This is some of the leaders who are addressing the press. Watu habari tunakuanga na kazi sana. That is what's there. So ECOWAS steps up pressure on Niger coup leaders. Let me take you there. That is West African military chiefs on Friday said that a plan for a possible military intervention in Niger if coup leaders do not stand down has been made. Earlier, France rejected the Niger junta's move to scrap bilateral military pacts, saying that only Niger's quote-unquote legitimate leadership was entitled to do so. That is what is happening in the Western country. Of course, ECOWAS is also having their voice as far as that is concerned. We just hope that our brothers in the African countries will find peace in the long run. Very well, let's take a break, and we come back. We are still continuing the discussion here on the Eye on Politics. Stay with us. And welcome back. In studio is Geofrey Ruku, Member of Parliament, Mbeere North, and Justina Wamae, progressive politician and former running mate Roots Party in the last general election. 1 year, almost a year, Kenyans went to the ballot to the general election, that is 9th of August 2022. Today is 7th of August, almost 1 year down the line. We want to take a look at what the Kenya Kwanza administration have achieved to this far. What are some of the hits and misses as far as the administration is concerned? Mheshimiwa, now that you're an active member of the legislature and member of the Kenya Kwanza administration, I'll give you probably 1 or 2 minutes so that you can highlight some of the hits and misses as we come closer to the 1 year mark. Go ahead.
Thank you. One of the great achievement which this administration has done is to ensure it cut down the foreign debt in terms of changing the trajectory of continuous borrowing by huge margin and cutting down unnecessary budget line.
Yes.
To close to 500 billion Kenyan shilling. That's very huge in terms of the burden to Kenyans. At the same time, trying to align the budget with the value chain processes, something which has never been done in the past. And these are things which Kenyans will start appreciating in the coming days. It may not be the immediate results at the moment, but Kenyans will start appreciating the coming days on why it is extremely important to align the budget with the value chain process. For instance, Kenya is the third largest livestock country, which has huge hands of livestock.
For export?
No. The standing hands of livestock, the third largest in the Africa. Why should we be the major importer of shoes in the Republic? I mean, when you compare with other countries. So, in the coming days, according to how the budget is aligned with the value chain process, we will start production or manufacturing of shoes locally so that we can decrease the importation of shoes. And also, we will be growing more of product which can be exported to other countries. What I'm trying to say is alignment of the value chain with the budget is an extremely and critical thing which this government has achieved, cutting down the foreign the borrowing and ensuring that unnecessarily cutting down the excesses of government by close to 500 billion. And also extremely important, remember there is a Eurobond which is coming to maturity by next year, June. And this government has told whoever the bodies which were organizing this Eurobond that please, we don't want to wait for June next year for us to pay. We want to pay now. So that
even the president talked about it yesterday that there's a loan that's maturing very soon.
Yes, so that we may not pay at the interest we are talking about. And every person is in World Bank, in IMF, in all these multilateral institutions, they are surprised that Kenya can say, we want to pay your money now, and we don't need your money. Okay. Then another very important milestone in aligning the economy. You know, the economy was in tatters, and this government has really done a lot of work to put it into perspective. Where do we get resources from? This government have invested 5 billion Kenya shilling with Africa Exim Bank, which is going to give this country huge facilities to implement different projects. That was an extremely brilliant idea by the president and his team to take some money and invest in the African institution so that it can be getting lines of facilities to implement different projects instead of going to Chinese, to European Union and other bodies which have been lending money to this nation. When it comes to the issues to do with the cost of living, we have seen the effort the government has done is subsidizing the production, not the consumption. The production of agricultural commodities. And it has already started getting positive results by what we are seeing at the moment. Currently, the prices of quite a number of commodities coming down. And this is something which is going to be maintained by the second year, third year. That's the time Kenyans will come to appreciate that indeed this government was doing the right thing for them.
All right.
In terms of education, so many milestones has been done. In terms of education, in terms of security, you have seen what Professor Kidiki has done in the north, where the verdict was the order of the day. Today, people there are busy farming. There are no further verdict. It has been controlled. The government is very busy working on the security in the border of Somalia and Kenya, and the down coast also, where there are some issues to do with Al-Shabaab. And we have seen the effort which government is doing. So in terms of security, properly well taken care of. We have a guy who is very much in charge, Professor Kidiki. In terms of education, huge investment has been made. Revolutionized the way the fees are going to be paid as far as the university education is done. Taking care of our CBC curriculum. The other day we had a working party report which has proposed quite a number of things. Well thought processes. You know, all these things are done at a very short period of time.
On a span of 1 to 10. 1 year down the line.
9 out of 10.
That's being so. Okay.
9 out of 10.
Justina, let's look at the positives, because a majority of people will always say this has not happened, this has not happened, this has not happened. But on this other end, I give Mheshimiwa that opportunity because he's a member of the Kenya Kwanza. He sits in Parliament where legislations take place. From your side, what are some of the hits that this government has so far achieved before we get to the misses?
Let me talk about education. The raft of new policies that are being brought up for, I think, debate in National Assembly. They're going to discuss. You know, I think after the report they're going to discuss that. Yeah. It's bringing a different aspect towards how we see education in this country. Something else that we've seen. What else have I seen? Okay, the conversation about coffee and tea. Though it at times touches Mtu wa Masiwa, you know, you wonder, are you still going to do, are you working for the people or you're hitting back at Mtu wa Masiwa? Also the conversation about saying that this government is focusing on the economic development. They have realized that the voter has shifted from this politics of Sarakasi to seeing that Kenyans are questioning you about the finance bill, Kenyans are questioning you about the budget. So I think the moment they're opening themselves up to have a discussion, then it's a move in the right directions. Kenyans are in touch with what is happening. Yes. Okay.
What about some of the misses?
The misses, number one, they're always reminding us that money was carried during the Serikali of Handshake. They have never moved on from that. It's 1 year. They need to get over it. Another thing, the president said the other day that he realizes when he talks to his CSs and PSs, they have no clue about what is happening in their ministries. So it means 1 year on, we are wasting. Nothing has been done from that perspective. The CSS are not working. Something else is that they never listen to Kenyans when they talk about, during the finance bill. Many of the Kenyans were saying, it's not time for us, don't give us houses to sleep. We wanted industries.
Yes.
And then also on the debt, the Eurobond that is up for payment next year, I would like the president to be very truthful that the time Auditor General Ouko said that they're going to audit the Federal Reserve in the US, he was very keen to say that no money was lost. So he needs to know that Kenyans still believe that the debt issue came out from the Eurobond, where Kenyans never had that, or never felt that the money had reached the country. So he still has his hands dirty on that aspect. Kenyans are like, you know what, you and Uhuru Kenyatta at that time for the Eurobond, you had your bromance, you were friendly. So don't take the blame to that government. You're also part of the conversation. Yes.
What of devolution?
Devolution, having paid the monies that are required, he said that the budget he has no debt, he does not owe counties money, is a good thing, because counties are always complaining that their funding is being held back. Though I want to also encourage Kenyans, as you're having mandamanos about the national government, kindly also question your county governments. Or again, Kenyans are hypocritical. They draw the line. When it's questioning your tribe mates, you have a problem, but you're easily hitting stones at someone who's not your tribe mate. So if we want to see change in this country, we have to invest in truth, we have to invest in the process by also questioning that person you perceive as your tribe mate.
Yes. You've raised a very salient point, because our first point of contact is the governors.
Yes.
But a majority of Kenyans will always come back to the executive and to the president, because we all know the buck stops with him, but governors play a pivotal role in the development of our devolution. Mheshimiwa, in terms of devolution, how has the Kenya Kwanza administration handled devolution, and even the governors, in terms of devolved units and governance?
The number of times the president are meeting with the Council of Governors, I think tomorrow will be the third time to try and synchronize the thinking of the governors and the thinking of the national government. Because both the national government and the local, the county government, all of them are working for the same people, the people of the Republic of Kenya.
Yes.
And it is true, the president, and now 2 meetings. Tomorrow it will be the third meeting with the Council of Governors, both governors from Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, because we are talking about fulfilling the promise he made to each and every Kenyan, whether you are in Mbeere or in Ramu or in Siaya, you are part of this republic, and is committed to fulfilling those promises and implementing the manifesto. And he promised the Council of Governors that by the time we are going to the next financial year, that is year 2023-2024 financial year, he will not be having not even a single cent held by the national government that belong to the county government. And by the time we are crossing the financial year 2022-2023, that was 30th of June this year, all the money that were pending for the county government, all of them were paid. They are all in county government coffers, as well as the CDF. At the moment, what is waiting to be done is a process of procurement, because also the process of procurement must be followed, so that now you start seeing the rollout of different projects across the counties and constituencies in the Republic of Kenya. And for the first time also, the month of July, for the monies which are supposed to go to the county government for the first month of July, also all that money has been sent to the counties. So I think you cannot do better than that.
Okay.
You cannot do better than that. So the governors have no reason whatsoever not to implement the project they promised the people in their counties, because the president has done his part. And I think that is the most critical thing. He doesn't need to micromanage what is happening in those counties. The only thing we were asking the county government in stronghold of Azimio, please don't use Kenya money, taxpayers' money, to go and buy stones.
No.
To go and demonstrate.
That's our delegation, Mheshimiwa. How can to buy? Okay. Two-thirds gender rule, just it's still a hard nut to crack for so many years. Even in Parliament, even the appointing positions, two-thirds gender rule is still a hard nut to crack. What is your assessment?
I think we need to also shift how we see women in politics. This conversation is coming 54 years after Grace Onyango went into Parliament.
Yes.
What did Grace Onyango do better? She campaigned better. Of course, there's the issue of finances. But also the challenge comes in even the women in power. I'm a woman, but I can say this. They have not inspired the country or citizens to see why we need more women. Actually, I feel like Kenyans are complaining that when we have women in power, if there's a gender top-up, where is the salary coming from? What are they doing? What are they achieving? So I think it goes back to the women who are already in power. power. Kindly do a very good job so that you can inspire the ground that the next woman must be voted in. Of course, there's the issue of finances, but I think if we change our conversation from being politics of money to politics of delivery, then we'll not even have the issue of 2/3 gender and women top up. Let the voters feel like, I'm voting for this woman because she has the idea, she's creative, she has the vision for this country. But having us being held by kiddie gloves, and it's been a conversation that we even hear women themselves in parliament, don't vote for this bill. So it goes to show that let us shift how we do things in this country as women. Let us start inspiring the voters to vote for more women so that we can have a level playing field. And again, when I say it's 54 years late, it is late because if Grace Onyango went to parliament then in 1969, then I think it's time for us to also sell ourselves from a perspective of, yes, we don't have money, but you have a vision for this country.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ruku, because before you get there, the positions, the appointive slots, head of parastatals, boards and directors and what have you, are you satisfied to this end? Because from the appointed positions and all that.
Yeah, the president had said 50-50 of gender. I think he missed on that, though I can't blame him because when you look at the way things are done, maybe less women, he never had a larger pool of women to pick from. Remember, he was limited to serikali ya shareholders.
Yes.
So if he had opened up for maybe women who were not supporting his government at the time, but now he realized this is time for delivery as the president of Kenya, he would have had a larger pool to achieve the 50-50. Yes.
Mheshimiwa Ruku, from that, one of the agenda of Kenya Kwanza for the bipartisan talk, there is that issue of 2/3 gender rule. Yes. If I read it among the points. So what about it?
Yes, gender rule, 2/3 rule is one of the rule which is enshrined in our constitution, and therefore it is important to respect that because we are committed as Kenya Kwanza administration to follow all the tenets of the constitution, the spirit and intent of the constitution, and that's why we are saying in the discussions, let's see how we can implement the 2/3 gender rule.
Why was it not implemented from the word-go during the formation of the government?
It was no, during the, if you look at the cabinet, we have a considerable number of
then
women.
Why now bring it during the bipartisan talk? What's so much about it?
It is not, the rule is not respected in Parliament. Parliament has not achieved the 2/3 gender rule.
Yes.
The number of women in Parliament, in the, whether Senate or National Assembly, it has not achieved the 2/3 gender rule. Actually, if someone else will go to court again, we will have the same process which was repeated the other day when Maraga was the Chief Justice. Okay, yes. He was supposed to advise the president to dissolve the Parliament because the Parliament has not met the constitutional requirement of 2/3 gender rule. And unfortunately, it is the people of the Republic of Kenya who vote. The people goes to Parliament.
Yes.
So how they don't vote the women, it's their wisdom.
So how will the 14-member committee of Azimio and Kenya Kwanza solve the 2/3 gender rule?
We can agree on affirmative action. Affirmative action.
Yes.
And the reparate effort to ensure that is done, to ensure that is achieved. So how the mechanism of achieving that, that's what they need to discuss. And
you see, that's the reason I'm asking why the 2/3 gender rule is still a hard nut to crack for Kenyans. I mean, why would Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, part of the agenda of the bipartisan talk, to be 2/3 gender rule be part of their agenda to discuss? I mean, Kenya Kwanza in government, the president ought to have done everything.
We need to see women in positions of leadership, whether it is in cabinet or principal secretary or parastatals, in foreign embassies, ambassadors. We need to see them as members of parliament, as senators. We need to see them as governors. You know, for instance, at the moment, out of 47 governors we have, how many women are governors? I think there are
I think seven.
Yes.
Seven,
yes. It moved from 3 to 7.
There are 7. So what percentage is that? The 2/3, I mean 1/3 of 47 should be more than 10, isn't it?
Yes.
About
13.
About 13, 14.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are still not yet there.
in terms of elective positions?
Yes. You go to MCAs, the same. There are some counties where they elected 100% MCS. So
that must be Naivasha. We have got Naivasha or Nakuru. Yeah, we have got female leaders from top to bottom.
Yes. Okay. So how do we ensure this is done? So there must be a deliberate effort to make sure this is going to be done, because we need women. Because women are wired in a completely different way than how the men are wired.
So how is bipartisan talk going to solve that? That is my question.
That's what we
don't know. As part of the agenda.
That's what we don't know. That's why it is there, for them to discuss and tell Kenyans.
It was a proposal from Kenya Kwanza.
Yes. Because it's an issue.
Yes.
It's an issue of the constitution, such that we, as a people of the Republic of Kenya, we are not respecting this constitution in terms of truth and gender rule. Yes. So, we take this constitution as the supreme law of the land. It's a sacred document, and therefore we must have all necessary efforts to ensure all the tenets of the constitution are implemented by this government.
Okay. Justina, what do you make? Grace Onyango must not be so happy wherever she is.
She's not happy, but I think why is it part of the bipartisan? What I'm reading is part of horse trading. So Kenya Kwanza says, when we are coming to vote for 2/3, make sure that your people are on board.
Yes.
Remember, it has never achieved when it comes to voting on the floor of the House, it has never achieved the 2/3 that is required. So I think it's part of horse trading that if we give you this, and then you give us this. If we say that we want the office of the Chief Cabinet Secretary to be anchored in law, Azimio will accept. So I think it's part of horse trading, though it goes back to the voters and us women in leadership. Why are people not voting us in? Those of us who have been given power, the nominated ones, I'm telling you, Kenyans really complain. They're like, we are paying you with our taxes, but you're not even delivering, you're not adding any value. So it also goes back to the women. What was the vision of Grace Onyango at that time? That women are part of this conversation. But let us earn it rightfully. Let us be different. Let us have a different conversation. Because even men compete for these seats. Many a times I tell women that a man, you'll even have more money than a man, but the man will be more confident in how he's delivering. So I think the kiddie glove issue, Kenyans have refused.
Yeah.
The MPs have refused to vote for it. Probably let's just go on the ground as women. Let's have a different arrangement. Let us show Kenyans that maybe 60 years after independence, men are now dressing in women clothes, making it look like it's a comedy. But the Kenyan man has been emasculated when even the men, they have been in power. So what does that say? It says it's time for women to have a different agenda in this country and to take this country in a different direction. Okay. So if we sell ourselves on the ground, Kenyans are not going to be bitter that the taxes are paying for women who are clueless about what is happening. And needless to us to say this, that if you look at Rwanda, they say that they have more women, but where is the impact? Remember, these women are just nominated by men. So whose brief are you holding? Are you holding the woman agenda brief or the men agenda brief? All we want is to see that the vision of this country, where we're supposed to be, where Singapore is, because you're always quoting, how are the women going to add value towards that journey, towards being a Singapore? So it is about how women sell themselves on the ground. Yes, we don't have money, but we have ideas.
Okay.
Yes.
We have money.
We don't have money.
We don't have ideas. Or we don't have money, but we have ideas.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa Ruku, it will be unfair if I ask you on the national outlook. The people of Mbeere, excuse me, the people of Mbeere are watching. Mbeere North are watching. 1 year down the line, what have you done for them?
We have tried to arrange quite a number of things. So far, we have a very successful bursary process where we distributed the bursary to 10,163 students in secondary schools. Those bursaries is something which has never been done before in Mbeere North. We ensured every student who applied in boarding secondary school got 8,000 Kenya shilling, and those in day secondary school got 5,000 Kenya shilling. It was a very innovative process, very well done, and it's something which has never happened in Mbeere North. Number two, we have a bridge which was done within a record of 60 days.
I hope it was a well done job.
It's a very well done job. It's a bridge called Karerema Bridge, which just collapsed when we took office. We have done quite a number of roads in terms of maraming, about 8 roads, and we are going to start in 1.5 weeks from now to do Momenje, Gekuyale Momenje Kerie Eshiara Road. We have pushed for construction of Kamomo Dam. Kamomo Dam, yes. Okay. Is one of the dams which is top priority of the government, and a dam which is going to start this year. It involved a lot of roping from different corners and roping in quite a number of people in government to support that. That's also a major achievement. We have brought the people of Mbeere together. We have started, we launched Ena Chicago Momenje water project with the Minister of Water. It's a project which is going to solve water problem within Dawa ward and the upper part of Momenje ward. We have sponsored a number of students who are very vulnerable.
What about primary healthcare?
About primary healthcare, it's a function of the county government, which we really don't want to get our hands, our noses there, because the moment you do that, you'll be accused of interfering with the county government issues. And you know, politics are very sensitive thing. You know, you have to manage it in a very proper way. Sorry, we have said what? You have asked?
Renovation of schools and...
no, renovation of schools has not yet started because the amount of money we got first once we get into the office was for bursaries only.
Okay.
We're now, by July, end of July, we have all the money for development, but now we have to get the procurement process right. We have advertised for tenders, which is crossing on 14th of August this month. So we expect to start rolling out the project by the month of October.
Yes.
After the tender process has been done, 14, we do the evaluations. Then now we start awarding different primary schools. We are going to start with renovations of a number of primary schools, and is total renovation,
a lot of work for you.
Facelift of our schools because we are in a very dilapidated situation, majority of them. We have supported different church functions because you have to be together with the people. And of course, we respect the church, and the church is a very critical
I just hope the people of Mbeere North, at the end of the day, because we'll be here again, same time next year, God willing.
Yes.
We'll take stock of what you've done because they've given you a 5-year contract so that you can do something for them.
And also very important, we started Fair Crime Network to mainstream Fair Crime Network Mbeere, to mainstream all our programs. We had season we farmed sorghum as a drought-resistant crop for climate resilient issues. We have done 2 bows already in a ward called Momenje. All those bows were supported by EABL, our partnership with EABL. The bows are well equipped with solar and steel tanks. We are doing another bow next week in another village. So we have quite a number of projects which
I wish I was in your constituency. There must be a lot of things happening in the constituency, Mheshimiwa. I'm told you are running out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I have an apology from Charles Ngusia, Member of Parliament, Mwingi West, who I told you had to rush back to the constituency because of an emergency, and Zulekha Harun, who is nominated Member of Parliament under UDM, who is also gotten
and maybe just to mention, because time is running out, today we are concluding education days in 5 zones of Mbeere North constituency. So that because education must be the cash crop
education is
of
the
people of Mbeere North. So the performance, we are really working on it to ensure the academic performance of our schools.
I've hosted you several times, Mheshimiwa, and I can attest that Mbeere North, if I were a voter, I would have voted you back. But hey, thank you.
But do we need the bursaries? Sometimes they're given to cronies. But anyway.
I can't have 10,163 cronies.
Thank you so much for joining us, Justina Wamae. Thank you so much. And Mheshimiwa Geofrey Ruku, Member of Parliament, Mbeere North. Asante sana for being part of the show. We'll take a break. GMK continues after this. I think I should be a voter in Mbeere North, Mheshimiwa.
Please do.
This election I will.
You have a right to vote in any corner of the country. You just need to change your vote and vote in Mbeere North. It's not a crime.
As I said, the people in Mbeere.